Howdy y'all, I am Ice Gold, and today I am standing in front of the best cattail farming spot in the game, not because I need it, but because it's something to do instead of just walking around, and we're going to be talking about some teasers that have been put out recently about some spells, these teasers and changes are going to be coming with the Darkmoor update coming in the fall. I think we can expect Test Realm in probably like a week or so, give or take. I mean, today's Sunday when I'm recording this. This will go up on a Monday, so that would be in line with what I initially said would happen with the fall Test Realm. It's probably going to be happening or dropping between October 6th and 8th, so just somewhere in there is when it's going to be coming out most likely. So this wave of teasers probably is going to be the last one. But Developer Cam posted these on his stream, so that's my source for that. And some of them, there's one in particular that is very concerning, but the others are mostly okay, and, you know, they're kind of cool, kind of neat, and I'm happy that they're happening. So, with that in mind, let us begin by looking at the first teaser. So the first teaser up is the fact that every single trap now is going to be worth 40% instead of 30%. I'm on my balance, which was probably the one school that was the worst to talk about this change with, but I don't know if Hex is going to be changing with that. I imagine it will be, but all traps are going to be going from 30% to 40%. This also includes fuel, so you know, maybe trap stack fire strategies are going to be back in style before too long in PvP. I think it could be kind of neat, especially given all the deck fail changes that are going to be happening this fall. So there's that, and I think that that's honestly pretty neat. And the fact that, you know, traps are increasing in value, because all of this time since release, I mean, blades have been just better than traps, and you know, Elemental Blade, Spirit Blade, these Tri-Blades have always been 35%, and these traps, these Tri-Traps, have always been 25% up until an update maybe a year or two ago, something like that, where they became 30%, and yeah, so it's like, Blades are going to be worth less than traps now, but I think that is a good thing, ultimately, because I mean, if we're being real, traps are generally not as good of a hanging effect, because you can only put them on once at a time, although, I mean, there are some mass traps. I don't believe I have a helmet, or hat rather, that gives a mass trap, or really an amulet or any of that, but, like, the mass, there aren't really any mass traps, and, just having traps be worth more is a good change, I think, just because they're less useful of a hanging effect, so might as well make them a bit more potent. I think that's a good thing. So there is that, and spears are also going up in value. This is also including Cosmic Charge, which at the moment is a plus 20% outgoing Pierce aura for 4 rounds, and it costs 1 pip, but that will be going up to 25% outgoing Pierce, which pretty cool. Maybe it could see some viability in PvP now that it is officially stronger than the Azteca Quetzal auras, so who knows, that could be cool. But the other spears are all going to be going up to 30%. I think that's pretty neat. And then there's also going to be Courageous Charge and Spectral Blast's B-Path. I don't have Courageous Charge, I don't even know where to get it, I've never cared to go get it, but in terms of Spectral Blast, if I could find that. So, right now, the B-Path of Spectral Blast honestly kind of sucks because it's 5 pips, but it'll do, you know, its damage, but it'll echo up to 4 charms for 30% chromatic Pierce Blades, or Spears, I guess. And those are now going up to 45%, which I think is very interesting, and I don't know if it'll make the card any more viable in PvP, but it's a neat little change nonetheless, so you'll love to see that. And then Courageous Charge, I believe, is a 20% outgoing Pierce Aura at the moment. Of course, I don't know, because I don't have the card, and I don't know where to get the card. I imagine it's probably just from, like, I don't know, Al Hazred or something, but you get the point. So with that said, that is the rest of the buff changes in terms of valuation. So next on the list, we're going to be going to all of the Gambit changes. Now, we've already kind of seen some of this get implemented with Balance Scion. Of course, Scion of Balance here used to be, you know, if your target had 11 pips or more, you could just win on the spot. But now they changed it to 2 dots and 2 curses. So that's how you get the Gambit now, which is considerably harder. Now, they have changed the valuation on a lot of these. It's looking to me like... Okay, so let's just start looking at them. Caldera Djinn is going up in value by, I think, 15 damage. It's like I could be wrong about that. Of course, I'm not going to have it on the balance, but it is going to become like obviously the same triple dot, but it will gambit 4 traps for 1,565 fire damage on the spot. So pretty interesting. All 3 ice gambits are getting changed, which is kind of neat in my opinion. Scion of Ice is going to be, I think, losing some damage on its base hit, but will be gaining some from the looks of things on its gambit. So I personally don't know about buffing shield gambits. The last time they tried this, it went horribly, but overall, I do think that, you know, it's kind of an interesting change because it's also translating over to the other shield gambits. Are they? No, actually, it's not. So Scion of Ice is actually getting buffed, and I think what we see in the teaser is the tier 5 version. I think this is a buff at least. Either way, if it is a nerf, it's not much of a nerf. But looking at, you know, Doom Oni is going to lose some damage on its base hit, and then it will go down to 1,680 on the Gambit, which is less than it currently does, to my knowledge. And then Fantastic Djinn, I think, is going to have the same thing happen. The base hit is going down a bit. And now it gambits 4 shields for 1,775. To my knowledge, it does about 1,800 something at the moment on live. So it looks like that is going to be seeing a slight nerf. And then just looking at some of these others, Everwinter Oni is going down to 710 on the base hit, and Gambit 4 traps for 1,300 damage. I think this is a marginal increase. It's the same as Caldera Djinn, where it's a Jinx or a Trap Gambit. So, you know, there's they're going to be gaining a marginal amount of value. But what's very interesting to me is that the weakness Gambits are actually seeing quite a lot of damage in terms of how much they're getting buffed by, because right now Turmoil Oni on live does, you know, its damage, and then it gambits 4 curses for 2,145. This is going up to 2,250. That's very interesting, and I was kind of surprised to see this. So it looks like weaknesses are seeing an increase in terms of how much they are valued. I do think that means we could potentially see a buff to weaknesses in the future. It just hasn't been teased yet. I think that's on their agenda. Don't quote me on that, but I know that they want to buff weaknesses, as at the moment weaknesses are the inferior form of damage mitigation. Shields, of course, much higher in terms of value compared to weaknesses. So yeah, they're probably going to be looking to balance that out a bit. So that would make sense in terms of how weaknesses are valued with the weakness gambits going up. So that's pretty cool. Iceburn Djinn is seeing the same thing, so is Scion of Death. The Blade Gambits, like Scion of Storm and Primal Oni, look like they're going to be gaining a little bit of damage as well. It looks like they are going to be doing the same as Trap Gambits. So I think that's what we're mostly seeing, because I'm looking at this, and Primal Oni, the Life Blade Gambit, is going to be doing the same amount of damage as the Ice Trap Gambit. So I think that is a reasonable conclusion to come to. They're just going to be doing the same now, whereas Trap Gambits, I believe, were doing less before. So I think Blade Gambits are coming down slightly. Wait, no, they aren't. Are they? I don't know. I think blade gambits are going up. Just in some places. Maybe I'm just tripping because what I'm looking at for reference is the Scion of Storm buff, which is going to be taking it from I think 1900 something on the gambit to 2075. Of course, I mean all of these are going to be on screen the whole time, so you know you can just keep looking at it as you do. The ramps are also all going to be changing from 3 pips down to 2 pips. I think this is a good change. They're only going to clear 2 from now on, but the valuation on some of these is getting a buff. Glacial Fortress looks to be gaining about 20% value on its shields, just as a reference, and then Betrayal is gaining some value, going from 15% to 35%. That is in line with the trap buffs that are happening. And yeah, Reap the Whirlwind is going down actually quite immensely in valuation. Right now, Reap the Whirlwind clears 1 dot for 2 55% Stormblades. It is going down to, as you can see, 1 dot for 1 singular 35% Stormblade. So that card's getting kind of massacred. Not that it was really meta, but you know, it still was strong. Now it's not going to be. So kind of interesting there. But I mean, you can kind of just look at a lot of these and see like how, you know, the valuation on them is changing mostly to be in line with the new trap valuations and all that, and just how the effects are being valued, and the ramps themselves are also the ramps themselves right now. Do I even have any on this character? I probably don't, but things like, okay, yeah, balance is just not the school to show them on, but things like what is it, like Jin's Vexation going from a 10% weakness to a 20%, Oni's Destruction going from a 15% ice trap to a 35% ice trap. It's like it's all going up in terms of value, but the number of effects cleared is going down, as is the pip cost. So kind of an interesting little thing to have happen here. But the elephant in the room, which you have probably seen by now, is over in the bottom right corner with the balance spell changes. That's why I'm on my balance today, because those are going to have some serious significance. So let's just go over what these cards do right now. So at the moment on Live Realm, Jin's Fortune will 2 times echo traps for 30%, traps on the target, and shields on the target for 50% shields on yourself. So it's kind of like an offense-defense kind of move, but nobody really uses it because it is an echo card. But it's going to be changing to Jin's Fortune is going to be going down to 2 pips, of course, in line with the other ramp changes. And what else are we looking at? So it's gonna put a 345 heal over time for 3 rounds and a 50% shield. So that one's not really gonna change too much, except it's not even really gonna be much of a counter anymore. It's just gonna be like it's just gonna be like a little baby heal and a shield. So for 2 pips, I guess. But the main thing with it is you can see Duststorm Jin down there too. It's going to do 245 scales damage, or Gambit 2 heals and shields for 590 scales damage. So, I mean, that is, you get a look at that 2-pip Jin's Fortune, and you start to realize, like, oh, you know, wait a minute here. You know, it's like, what if balances just start packing 6 of those and start spamming them back to back, and then just getting crazy value out of a Duststorm Jin. Because it's like, the damage on the Duststorm Jin, let me actually check on that right now, is going to be going up pretty tremendously. The base hit, of course, is going to be going down, which is in line with all of the other Gambits, but the Gambit damage itself is going to be going up from 480 elemental damage to 590 scales damage. When I say scales, of course, I mean, you know, like this, the Scales of Destiny schools being, of course, life, ice, and balance. So that is definitely going to be interesting for balance going forward. I think that is a considerable buff. When balance didn't really need it. Like, balance losing Scion and Chameleon to a degree was justified, but for this, I mean, bro, bro, this kind of just wasn't needed, because balances, if this change comes to live, balances are just going to be spamming Jin's Fortune and Duststorm Jin back to back. But what is much more concerning, and people have caught on to this, and this is the whole reason why I'm making this video at all, is Oni Shadow. And as you can see, just sort of back on the screen, although, you know, if I remember to edit out, currently Oni Shadow on Live Realm will echo twice, 2 blades on the target for 2 25% blades on the caster, and 2 curses on the caster for 2 weaknesses, 25% on the target. That is being changed in accordance with the new Tribunal Oni to, get this, a brace for 4 rounds and 2 35% traps. Yeah. Whose idea was this? Because what they're trying to do with Tribunal Oni right now, of course, what it does is it'll Gambit 2 blades and 2 curses for 500 spirit wheel damage. But in the proposed change for it is going to be, you know, 245 balance storm myth damage, or it can Gambit an aura and 3 traps for 545 balance storm and myth damage. I really don't think we're going to see too much use out of that Gambit necessarily, especially not compared to Duststorm Jin. But the new ramp being a brace and 2 35 traps, especially because they're universal traps, that's going to be a card that every single school is going to use. So, I mean, it is 2 pips for a brace and 2 35 traps. Like, what are we doing? what are we doing? That card is going to be massively overvalued, in my opinion, just because it's like, all you have to do is, like, it's going to be 2 pips, you know, all you have to do is just get a balance pip, cast the card, and boom, there you go. That's another, what is it, 16 rounds of brace if you're not a balance, 24 more rounds of brace if you are a balance. I mean, dude. and you also get, like, a pretty considerable buff out of it too. This card is going to severely negatively affect the meta, and it's not good at all for the health of the game to be adding a 2-pip brace and double trap. That, I think, really needs to be looked at and reevaluated before Test Realm comes out. I really don't think we need to be seeing a card like this enter the game. It's going to be just so bad, because right now already, I mean, all of these, people call them perma-brace schools, because it's schools that carry already 4 braces, 4 stabilizes, even extra brace item cards. Like, my balance right now carries 9 braces, my ice carries 10. It's like, imagine my ice carrying 14 braces. Bro. 14 braces with this card coming out. And, I mean, of course, Oni Shadow just giving 2 traps along with it is just going to make it so much harder to really get anywhere. Because, I mean, they're going to be 35% traps. I really think that the developers need to reevaluate putting a card like this into the game, because the fact of the matter is, they created Stabilize just as a card because that was where a defensive aura was going to be valued. So for people to be packing both Brace and Stabilize, I don't think they intended for this to happen, but it is what's happening. And now, I mean, they're just adding 4 more copies of Brace, 6 more if you're a Balance. So it's like, I'm packing 9 Braces on my Balance. That's gonna go up to 15. I could. Oh, hang on. Let me make a deck just real fast with Oni Shadow in it. What would I take out? I would take out probably. I might keep like 3 chameleons. I might take out maybe a samurai, maybe even a triton. For Oni Shadows. Dark Surge is going to be hurting you in the update, but it has been changed a bit, so now it's only 5%. I think we could reasonably see this as a deck for 15 braces, and it wouldn't even negatively impact balance all that much. Like, this is where we're at in terms of how the game is looking. I don't really know how else to put it. Just like, yeah, I mean, this is a deck, this is really and truly a deck that we could see after the fall update if this card makes it in its current state. I don't think it's good for the game, personally. I think it is a disaster if that gets added. But hell, I mean, maybe that's just me. I don't really know what else to say. Bro, I just hope they don't add that, at least not in its current state. What I really hope happens is that they change the gimmick with Tribunal Oni from being auras to just blades. I mean, like blades and traps, because the reason why they're making it Tribunal Oni a damage gambit, or what the hell am I saying? An aura gambit, is because Storm, as of the Selenopolis update, owns auras just as a card. Storm owns both positive and negative auras, so they own that hanging effect. So, of course, Tribunal Oni dealing storm damage, that's going to be part of it. So Storm is going to have auras become part of it. So that makes sense, I imagine. So I don't see why they don't just do blades in its place, because right now, I mean, Storm is already just like, I don't really know how else to describe it. It's just sort of, it's like, what are we doing? You know, it's like, who in their right mind would add a card like that to put in more braces, to put more braces into the game? It's like, you don't see people carrying around Fortified because it's not as potent. So 20% is sort of where that starts, and I really think that if Wiz adds this, it's just going to make the meta 10 times worse. Bro, like, what are we aiming at that point? I don't really know what to say or to make of it. I just hope that they don't add that Oni's Forge, or Oni's Shadow. So, I don't know. I've been rambling for 23 minutes. I think it's about time I wrap this one up. So, yeah, I mean, overall, you know, a lot of the other changes I think are pretty cool, but not this Oni's Shadow. I think that Oni's Shadow is going to be one of the most terrible changes for the game in a very long time, because we're already going to see people phase Dark Surge out of the deck just a little bit. They're obviously not going to take all of them out. It's not as punishing as it initially was prospected to be, or projected to be, but you're still going to see people carrying maybe 2 or 3 Dark Surges instead of like the 5 that most schools currently pack. So it's like they're creating space in people's decks for this new card with the Dark Surge change. So I just think like we need to really rally against Oni's Shadow entering into the game. I think most of the other changes are good, but for Oni's Shadow, we don't need more braces in this game. That's mostly what I'm getting at. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of just like a no-brainer kind of thing to have, or like a no-brainer thing to rally against. So I don't know. We'll just have to see if they continue and go through with the change. But for now, that's going to wrap it up. thank y'all for watching. I've been Ice Gold. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave like 50 comments for the algorithm. My Discord is down in the description if you want to chat with me some more, and I will see y'all later.